Hey everyone, I wanted to come back and do a second recording after the connection last night was interrupted. I want to come back and share a few things with you in addition to the partial video that I went ahead and posted in Blackboard last night. We'll go ahead and do a screen share. I want to point out a few critical areas regarding the assignment, make sure everyone understands. So I'm doing a screen share here quickly where I can go over some of the information with you. Give me just a second here. Okay, screen is sharing. So I want to go first of all and point out a few things in the syllabus regarding the informal assessment that's coming up due this Sunday evening. I mean, one of the first things I wanted to point out, make sure everyone completely understands, is that this assignment does ask you to select three different informal assessments to utilize for this assignment. So it can be a combination of three regarding a math and English, language arts, reading. It could be a math, reading, or behavioral. It could all three be math, all three reading, all three English. So it's totally up to you as long as you have three informal assessment tools that you can use to complete the requirements for the assignment this week. Another thing is now that we're getting into the individual assignments and we're past the group assignment that you just submitted, if you notice in the syllabus, and I'll point it out on a line item once we get down into the breakdown of the assignment, each assessment report does require that you build or develop a lesson plan, and each lesson plan is specific to that we're working on during that time frame. So, for example, this week, in addition to your assessment report, you will also include a lesson plan that has been developed based on the areas of concern or the weaknesses that were identified based on your review of data from the assessments that you administered, which would be the informal assessment this week. So you're using your case study student. We've talked about that the first couple of weeks, identifying a student that you can work with this summer. I'm going to need one for each of this assess. And we'll scroll down to the various areas that we want to make sure that we address in our assessment report. And then I'm also going to show you where to find an example in the course shell. So if you look, our first category when we develop our assessment report is basically the identifying information. And so we want to make sure that you include the name of each informal assessment that you administered, the date or date range in which you administer those, brief description of the skills that are being measured, purpose of the test, why you selected that. Then we want to drop down and create a new section. This is going to be our background information regarding the student. Again, I mentioned the first night when we do these reports, we do not use the real name of the student. We want to make sure we use a pseudonym or you can use the initials, but we do want to give a description of their age, any suspected disability, if there is one, school level of the student. Also, in the background information, we want to make sure we include a little bit about their past performance, any behavioral issues, talk a little bit about their behavioral background, and then any teacher observation information you collect. Also include just a little bit brief description of their family information, pertinent family information. So is a student living in a two-parent home? Does a student live with biological mom, stepfather? Is a student being raised by grandparents or a distant relative, or is a student in foster care? So just give us a little bit of information there. We'll drop down to the next section. This is the test results and interpretation section. So this is where we're going to focus on the data, the information you've collected from those informal assessments. You'll see we're going to give an explicit analysis of the results with any supporting data. The one thing I do want to point out to you, and I mentioned in the brief video that I went ahead and posted last night. Now that we're getting into the individual assessment, each time we do one, you're going to be asked to present data that you've collected in the form of some visual representation, whether it's a table you've created, a chart, or a graph. And then you want to go in and label that information. For the informal assessment, it's going to be very basic on how you display that because we're going to have limited data. But this is to get you in the habit and practice of learning how to take data you've collected, put it in some type of visual representation. So when you explain the information to the parent, it will help them understand what you're talking about. If you notice here, this week compared to other weeks that we're going to be developing those tables, charts, and other representation methods, you'll see you'll need to develop that. It's worth 6 points, and then making sure you go back and explain the information that you put in that visual representation. It's worth 9. So you can see right there, just those 2 items alone are worth 15 points. So please don't overlook that. It's a common mistake. Students, when they're writing these reports, they overlook this section. As we get into the norm reference and the CBM, this item right here will be weighted a lot more points, a significant amount of points for this section. So something to be aware of as we move forward. Also, you want to make sure that you identify strengths and talk a little bit about those, and also talk a little bit about the weaknesses that you notice just from administering the informal assessment. Our last section is going to be the recommendation and conclusion section. You're going to go in and basically highlight any recommended instructional recommendations. It could be something as simple as modifying grade level work, changing some of the material. Again, this is all based on data you are collecting from the informal assessment. Okay, another additional items, one thing to make sure is that you include permission form formal assessments. Okay, you include a copy of those 3 informal assessments you used, also a copy of the permission form that's signed by the parent. Okay, that is also part of it. It's easy points for you. 4 points right there in that section. Okay, the last item is you're going to develop a lesson plan. This is based on the data you've collected. You're identifying what you feel like are areas of concern, weak areas, and you develop a lesson plan around that. That is not something you have to present in a video. It's simply you are taking the data, you are developing a lesson plan and submitting that for a review. Okay, again, we provide that lesson plan template for you in the SPED 805 resources section in the course shell. There is a template lesson plan. We really want you to use this because it will help prepare you for when you're doing the PPAT at the end of the program, trying to obtain your certification. It's very similar to the lesson plan that you'll have to develop when you are taking that assessment. So we really want you to use that lesson plan template that's in the course shell. So just want to make sure everyone understood the components, sections that we're looking for in the assessment report. I'm going to stop my screen share quickly, and then I will switch over to the course shell and show you where to find a sample report. Bear with me just a second here. Let me get over to my screen I need. So here again, I want to point out this is starting week number 3 does start module 2. Module 2 will take us all the way through the end of the course. So the screen may be black. I'm in the process of switching over now and getting to where I need to be. Okay, I think I can share now. So I've already got in, the screen is in the process of sharing. It should be showing up just any second here. Okay, there we go. It shows on my end that the screen is shared. So I've clicked on module 2 in the course shell, and again, that will take us through the end of the course. It will be the next 5 weeks. Example, the informal assessment report. If you click on module 2, that particular section will expand, and you will see another section pop up. And it has here an example of the informal assessment report. So it will give you an example exactly. It also gives you a couple examples on some very basic tables or chart or graph on how you can visually represent the data that you collect. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys knew where to find that, where to identify that document within the course shell. So please use that as a resource. The next item I want to point out to you on where to find is go into the next folder right below it. It is SPED. And this down second week 3 folder. There's 2 of them. So I'm going to click on the second one. And I'm going to scroll down to an item that says ABCs of formal assessment. I spoke about this in the video I went ahead and posted last night, but I wanted to point it out to you. There are 3 folders in the course shell. Click on the second one. That folder will expand. You'll scroll down. You'll see a line item that says the ABCs of informal assessment outside website. It will provide you with multiple examples of informal assessments. It will give you an example for each letter of the alphabet. Okay, it's a very valuable resource. The website is. I strongly encourage you, if you are struggling or challenged with determining what type of informal assessment that you would like to do for this assignment, please visit that website. We'll give you some ideas. Okay, so I just want to point out some of those key areas in addition to the information that was posted in the video last night. One thing I do want to clarify for you is common question last night. I'm going to bring it up again to make sure everyone hears it, has the opportunity to hear it. You are selecting 3 informal assessments. The lesson plan portion of this assignment only requires a single lesson plan. So you're pulling the areas that you've identified as area of concern or weak areas in your data, and you're going to develop that lesson plan around it. Okay, so we have 1 lesson plan, 3 informal assessments that you're going to use to collect the data. So I just want to clarify that. A question from last night. Again, the assignment will be due this Sunday. I've also posted in the week 3 participation the 3 questions. So if you are reviewing this video live last night, you can find those questions in there. They're already posted this morning, which is Wednesday morning. They're ready to go for you to go in. Please make sure that you answer those, submit your responses before midnight on Friday. Those will be due before Friday. Again, the assignment informed assessment report is due this Sunday coming up. I believe it's Sunday, June the 23rd on or before midnight. When you go into the recordings, I'll send you the link. You'll notice I posted a partial recording. Had difficulties last night, was able to get the last part of the class recorded. Did have some Q&A, more Q&A than anything. So I went ahead and posted that. In case you had questions, you might see some of the answers I provided. And then this morning, I want to go ahead and do a brief video to show you a couple of areas within the course shell and also go over the rubric on what is expected for the informal assessment report. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me by email. Again, I always check those early in the morning, often around 6 a.m. And then I come back right after 5 p.m. in the afternoon for a second round and check emails then. So if I miss you on the front side in the morning, I'll come back and answer your question in the afternoon when I check those emails. Hope each and every one of you have a good day. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me about this assignment. Thank you. Have a good day.